which not guarding the 2, he's guarding the 3. How are you doing, Brett?
I'm doing great. Sorry for the late start, everybody. I had to take a beauty nap, which the beauty part didn't work, but the nap kind of did. So we are here. We are ready to cook for Super Bowl weekend.
Right. Yes, we're on a little bit later than normal, but it is all good. So yeah, let's just go ahead, jump into the NBA. Where hold on, let me share this really quickly for those of you who may not know who the All Stars are. So here we go. We already knew the starters last week. So the East: Giannis, Jalen Brown, Brunson, Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey. And then the West: Steph, Luca, SGA, Jokic, Wemby. We discussed that last week. We did learn the reserves, and I do think that it is up to some debate, especially out west. I think in the East, Scotty Barnes, Jalen Duren, Jalen Johnson, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, Pascal Siakam, and Cat. I feel like there's no big issues there, or is there a player that you feel like is missing from the East reserves?
I'll say, I think you can make an argument that Joel Embiid has been playing at a high level. So you can make that argument, but I don't really have a problem with the East reserves. Another shout out, Porter Jr., of course.
Mm-hmm.
So outside of those two, really, I don't got any problems with it.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like for most people, you look at the East and you go, all right, you can make a valid case for all those guys. Now, out west is where some of the questions may be brought up. We have Denny Avdia, first timer. You'll love to see that, especially in Portland. Not necessarily playing that well, but Avdia is having a really good season. You got Booker, KD, Ant, who we talked about last week as Ant probably should have been a starter, but he is on the team as a reserve. You got Chet, LeBron, and Jamal Murray has finally made an All-Star game. You know, good for him. But looking at the West, what's the biggest issue, if there is one?
It feels like the biggest issue is you would think that the Clippers would be represented a little more, and I think the biggest snub of the All Star game is Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard has been absolutely terrific this year, and he's quite frankly, I think, played in enough games that that's not even an excuse. So I think the biggest snub for sure is Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah. And
Shout
look,
out, shout out Larry Markkinen too. By the way, he's been great.
yeah, because you got to remember, the game is in LA. So having a Clipper player probably could have made some sense. And Kawhi is having a really good season as well, which has led me to a little blind resume amongst 5 players in the West. One obviously made the All-Star game, the other 4 didn't. So I'm gonna put this up and you let me know who you would pick out of these 5 to be an All-Star, and then I'll reveal who the 5 are. So here we go. Starting from left to right, you got player 1, who's played in 47 games, who's played in the most out of the 5. Doesn't really lead in anything, but 24 points, around 6.5 assists, 4 boards, shooting the ball really well. That's probably all-star worthy. Uh, Second player has played in 31 games, the least. 22 points, 6 boards, about 6.5 assists, shooting 51% from the field. You see the other numbers there. Player 3, 35 games, 28 points, 6 boards, 3.5 assists, got 2 steals, 40% from 3, and on and on. And then, player 4, 21, 9, and 6. player 5, sorry, 25, 5-8. So looking at them, I guess first off, do you think you could probably name any of these players? And then who's the one you would pick as the all-star?
So the third one's Kawhi Leonard. I think the one on the far right said. I think that might be either the one on the far right or the far left is James Harden.
Okay.
Just trying to debate, and if I can remember off the top of my head, how good of a year James Harden's having from 3.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think assist will probably give that away. Yeah, I think the far right's James with the 8 assists a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that fourth from the right, that could be Alperen Sengun.
Okay.
If I had to guess far left, I'm going to guess that might be Lauri Markkanen.
Okay.
And if I had to guess second from the left, I'm going to guess Devin Booker. No, wait, no, D-Book's going to be scoring more than that. I changed my mind on that one real quick. Yeah, second from the left, 50% from the field, 32 from... I'm not sure about the second. I'm not sure about that second one from the left, but I don't know. I think I had 4 pretty good guesses at least.
Okay. I will say you did pretty well. Oh. There are your 5.
LeBron, okay. Oh, Keontae George, okay.
So you're on the right team. Wrong player. But
You
yeah,
know what?
Sengun, Harden, Kawhi. And Kawhi, clearly looking at their resumes alone, having the best season out of all of them. Only put this out there because I think a lot of people were looking at LeBron, obviously, 22 years straight. I think some people have been asking, was this year actually an all-star year for him?
I think we can all agree. We can all agree that the answer is no, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we can also agree that we've already set the precedent that we kind of introduced legacy awards in the All-Star game. So do I think that LeBron James is the most deserving All-Star? No.
Mm-hmm.
But is he a better All-Star than some of the other legacy candidates? Like, is he a better All-Star than guys like 2016 Kobe or 2017 Dirk? Yeah, so I think judging by regular standards, he's not an all-star, but if we're going by, the legacy selection that just seems to get in every year, yeah, he's overqualified at that point.
Okay. Like I said, I just wanted to throw it out there. I mean, I didn't even think about using Booker. Also, I mean, that could have been a good add to this as well. Probably could have had him over maybe Keontae George, but I just feel like Keontae George is actually having a really good year. He's out in Utah, so a lot of people probably aren't maybe paying attention necessarily. Just want to shed a little light on the year that he's having. But yeah, I don't know. And I think some of the conversations around Kawhi, could this be almost a Belichick type thing because Kawhi had the stuff at the offseason? Is that why he's not getting in?
100%.
Kind of seems crazy, but it definitely seems like it.
100%. Like, look. The numbers don't lie in this scenario. And the film, when you watch Kawhi Leonard this year, backs up the numbers too, right?
Yeah.
He's been terrific.
Yep.
Every game he's played in, he's been the best player. He puts an argument out that he's the best player on the court. He's almost at 50, 40, 90 shooting splits. He's been sensational. To me, he's clearly been the best player out of this entire bunch. And I don't think that if we're going to vote LeBron in and he played 31 games, then I wouldn't have an issue, putting Kawhi Leonard in there at 35 games played. So I do think that Kawhi Leonard got royally snubbed.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess we'll see if any, players drop out or anything like that, and whether Kawhi can get back on. We know last year, LeBron had the whole thing and he decided not to play or anything like that, which, some people were upset by. I doubt he does that this year because it is in LA and all of the questions about is this going to be his last one and all that, you know he's going to soak that all up for the whole weekend. Like he may, just for the vibes of it, he might show up in a slam dunk contest, do like one dunk just to be like, see, I did it, guys. I told you. I said a few years ago, put me in. I actually did it finally. Like I don't know, but like I don't have the biggest problem with it. You know, he is obviously arguably the biggest star still in LA. So why not give the fans that? And I guess for him, if it is his final one, which I doubt, I feel like he's going to play another year. But, you know, if it is, why not? But it is kind of messed up. Kawhi didn't get in.
Yeah.
All right. And I guess also to go along with the All-Star game, with the new format where you have the 3 teams, the mini tournament where 2 teams will be American players, 1 team will be world. That's going to also be kind of interesting because we're hearing some players are actually coming out trying to kind of campaign to be on the world team. Like Donovan Mitchell's telling everybody, hey, I have Panamanian descent. I believe his grandmother's Panamanian. He wants to play for the world. We all know Cat, I believe, was born in like Jersey or New York, but he's also Canadian, so he technically could be an international player. Will we get to a point where we'll probably just have 12 world and 12 US, and it won't feel like we're just allowing people undeserving in? I think this year, if you tried that, some people might say you might be stretching it with the world team. But do you think we're kind of getting to that point where it's just going to be 12v12 and no more mini tournament type stuff?
Yeah, hey, why not? I think we'll eventually get back to that, but you know, I'm always willing to try out these mini tournaments.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Say honestly, putting Cat on the world team might be the only way that the world team loses because I'm not sure how you're going to protect the rim with a Cat Jokic combo. It's going to be open season at the rim.
Right. Yeah, 'cause I think looking at the teams, it's like internationally, you have what, Avdia, Luka, SGA, Jokic, Wemby, Siakam.
So Demons was trying to play for the world team. Well, Giannis is going to get replaced.
Right, yeah. Which we'll have to see who they replace him with. So, yeah, I mean, not necessarily a lot of international players in this pool, but yeah, so they'll probably have to do a little bit of fudging it a little bit. Maybe they let Donovan Mitchell play for the world.
Say Jamal Murray.
That's right. Murray is Canadian, right? Yeah.
Say bring in Celtics GOAT Hugo Gonzalez for the world team.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Hugo.
Say the plus minus GOAT. That's always so funny. It's like rookie plus minus leaders. Second place like a plus 90. There's Hugo like plus 215. I'm like,
it is crazy because like I watch Celtics games all the time. Obviously, as a Celtics fan, it's just like the broadcast will always talk about. It's like there goes Hugo, you know, plus 35, and you're just like, and I get it because when he's out there, like he's like all energy, on ball defense and stuff. The team does play better, but yeah, it's one of those where if you like plus minus, you look at that and go, But if you think plus minus is kind of a little overrated, you're like, yeah, does that really tell the whole story? But yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Baylor Schneider. There we go.
Yeah.
No, I will say it's interesting that Pascal got in. I'm not saying he wasn't deserving, but we've seen so many like good players on really bad teams get snubbed in the past just because their team wasn't winning a lot. So maybe this will help set kind of more of a precedent to let some of those guys in. Because look, at the end of the day, some of these guys can't really help who their teammates are, and there's only so much that they can do to elevate their game.
Right. And looking at the kind of the snub list, we already went over the West because that's what I had the graphic up. It's Kawhi, Keontae George, Harden, Sengun, The East, they're saying the biggest snubs are Michael Porter Jr., who you mentioned, Brandon Ingram, Paolo Banchero, and Joel Embiid.
Yeah. I don't think like Brandon Ingram, and ironically, I feel like Brandon Ingram would be so funny to watch in the All Star game,
Mm-hmm.
just because you got like everybody, dunking, flying, going to the rim. And I feel like you can give him a wide open lane to the rim. He's still taking like a 2 jab step 15-footer. Like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
There's three things guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and Brandon Ingram 18-footer. Like,
Yeah.
it's terrific. So I think Brandon Ingram would actually be a hilarious All Star game guy.
I mean, look, he's a guy that he knows his game. If you ever if your team's playing the Raptors and you're watching, you can basically kind of guess where like 60% of his shots are gonna come from.
He'll,
And he will get to that spot. He won't go anywhere else. He's gonna pull up. That's just Brandon Ingram.
he sometimes, it's so funny the discourse around him too, because he'll get on these hot streaks where you're like, he's shooting 40% from three, but he's only taking like one of them because he keeps just taking 2 steps in.
Mm-hmm.
And he's having a great year though. Shout out to Bi.
I've always kind of been a Brandon Ingram guy. I get how frustrating his game is at times though, because
Yeah,
you still know how talented he is, but it's like he's not one of those like aggressive players. Like if he waits till the third quarter to take his first shot, well, it'd be kind of a surprise, but you wouldn't be necessarily surprised by it because he's not demanding the ball a lot, even though he is really talented.
say shout out another guy who's been fantastic this year, and he's more of an impact guy than going to put up raw statistics. Of course, I'm referencing Rudy Gobert. I
Mm-hmm.
I can make an argument that the impact he has on this team are is more significant than half the All Stars on this list. So, say Rudy's been terrific this year.
Yeah,
LaMelo Ball.
and yeah, I mean Rudy's also one of those guys that it's just hard picturing him in like an All Star game kind of setting because he is so much of just like rim protection. But you also feel like if you put him out there enough, he would be so unserious with it that he like all those shots that we see him doing in the off season, he'd probably launch them all in an All Star game, which some fans wouldn't like, but I would actually find it kind of entertaining.
I I would love it. Like Rudy just hits like 5 corner threes in the All Star game.
Yeah,
Like that would be the greatest thing ever. The only funny part would be like if he actually did start knocking out threes in the All Star game. I'd love to see the Timberwolves fans' reaction. Like, where's this in
yeah.
the regular game?
Maybe you need to get him in the little skills challenge. It would be funny seeing him try to dribble the ball up and down the court. But
Hey, you've been
well,
taking
then
on the.
once again, before games, he's doing like in and out dribbles between the legs and all that. So he might be
Now
sneaky cheat code.
he's got like multiple clips this year now of him taking guys off the dribble.
Mm-hmm.
He did that to Eric Sarr and put him on a poster.
Yeah.
Look, I think if people know me, I've been one of Rudy Gobert's biggest defenders for years, and even I was flabbergasted. Like Rudy, like accelerated, all of a sudden
Mhm.
stopped on a dime, pump fake, sent Sarr flying, and then just yammed on him. Like, okay, Rudy,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I agree. I do think Rudy. I think that'll depend on Victor. I think they'll give it to him if he's healthy, but if Victor is out and he's not eligible for DPOI, then I think it's at that point it's Rudy's to lose.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. And it's funny that you talked about Rudy like going to the hoop and then kind of, I guess, decelerating and then just dunking it. There was a story that came out because, like, I think it was the Bucks game with the Celtics, the Heritage uh, Classic. That we'll say, great job by the NBA, kind of, highlighting the pioneers and all that. like Luca Garza made a move. He went to the hoop, like decelerated, then went up, and they told a story that Ant learned that move from Luca Garza, who look, Luca Garza is not blessed athletically, like at all. And look, maybe Rudy Gobert picked it up from him as well.
And don't worry, the Milwaukee Bucks pay tribute to the Pioneers by running an offense straight out of 1950.
I mean, look, we could talk about that here for a second. Like, obviously, look, it's a great thing. It's obviously with it being February, Black History Month and all that. It was cool for them to highlight Lloyd Cooper and Clifton as obviously like first black player drafted, the first one to play, all that. They talk to Doc all before the game because Doc's a big advocate and all this kind of stuff. And then you see the game and it was like a 30-point blowout. Which yes, Giannis not being there, I get that. But like you said, there were some offensive possessions where it was rough for Milwaukee.
It's because Glenn Rivers never adjusts his strategy of, don't worry, the players will figure it out, out there. And, in the year 2026, when coaches are constantly scheming for even the slightest advantages, not having a coach that, does that is just such a massive disadvantage. And what frustrates me about, Glenn Rivers is I can't do it with him because what did he do after the game? He comes out and he makes more excuses. He's like, well, I have a healthy team. Like, awesome. Terrific. Yeah. Congratulations. I've watched you underperformed with healthy teams. I watched you have a healthy team and get absolutely dog walked by Josh Smith, Corey Brewer, and Terrence Jones. Shout out to Donatas Montagunitas for hitting a shot in that run. So, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, he just annoys the crap out of me. Like, I just want some accountability, but I can't get it because it all starts from the top, and our coach won't take accountability. It's like the schedule's fault. It's, everyone's dealing with injuries, even though half the league's dealing with injuries and adjusting just fine to it. The water boy wasn't quick enough hydrating the players. Austin Rivers had a dentist appointment that I was distracted by. Like, it doesn't matter with him. Like, I think he's the perfect coach, ironically, to lead the tank.
Yeah.
Let's get this high draft pick. But I don't care if we're, trading Giannis and rebuilding next year. I definitely need Glenn Rivers off this team after this season because I know he's not going anywhere this season. I'm accepting.
Yeah.
But he has to go before the start of next season because it's just getting ridiculous with him. I'm tired of him.
No, I completely understand that. It was like pregame. He was talking. He's like, well, 1 year Giannis wasn't fully healthy. Fully healthy Giannis, and then the other year it's like we didn't have healthy Dame Lillard. And I'm like, you're saying this before a game where you're facing a team that doesn't have Jason Tatum. Yet they're figuring things out. And look, I mean, they have Jaylen Brown, obviously, and all that, but it's kind of hard to talk about missing your biggest player during a matchup against the Celtics. Like, if you're doing that against, I don't know, Denver or something, maybe. But it was just like Doc, what are you doing here? You're not doing yourself any service. Because like you said, if you're a Bucks fan and you're watching Milwaukee right now, and the coach is basically telling you, like, well, we don't have Giannis, so I don't know what you're expecting us to do. It's like, then why are you here? Like, you're supposed to use these games without Giannis to go, look, maybe we could give AJ Green a little more, or Ryan Rollins, or run through Miles Turner and see what that looks like, or Bobby Portis or something. And it's just like, nah. Doc's just standing there like, I feel like somebody might figure it out, but don't look at me. I don't have Giannis. So what do you want me to do?
The strategy of let's not draw up any plays for AJ Green, even though AJ Green notoriously can't create his own shot, is mind-boggling. I feel like if you gave like a good coach, like if I gave, Mazzulla, for example, AJ Green, Dude, that guy's launching like 11 threes a game, hitting him at like a 40% clip because he just doesn't stop moving. He's shooting off pin downs and all this other fun stuff. Meanwhile,
he would literally be Sam Hauser.
right, run like a Sam Hauser, like kind of Kyle Korver like sort of thing with him. Glenn, you're lucky. He'll give him like one screen and that's it. If that doesn't work, we're going to APJ ISO ball, and maybe AJ Green catches a grenade to launch up at the end of the shot clock. So I don't care who. I don't care if it's a rookie head coach next year at this point. Just give me somebody new.
Yeah. The crazy things, like they started off on like a 13-0 run. And you're like, oh. So Doc's gonna lead his team into his old stomping grounds and get a big win. Then you look at the end of the first quarter, it was 23 all, and you're like, okay, well they squandered that. And then as the game got on, it was just like Bucks went through long stretches where they weren't scoring. But you did bring up Giannis, and I want to ask you as a Bucks fan. I feel like previous years it was always like, oh, outside noise. Shams is making a living off of, well, new Giannis rumor. Are you at the point where it's now so when Giannis is dealt as opposed to if he gets dealt? Like, are you just preparing yourself for an announcement at this point?
Am I preparing for an announcement?
Yeah.
Not really.
Okay.
I'm kind of indifferent, right? If he gets traded, best of luck, Giannis. You're my franchise icon. I'll give you a standing O when you come back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stay, awesome. Like I'm more than happy to try to win another one next year and run it back next year. We'll have access to more picks to trade away, a high pick this year to, hopefully add an impact player. It's one of those things that if he gets traded, though, I'm not giving Shams any credit.
I mean, yeah, if you announce it for like 5 straight years and it finally happens,
right? Like this is him. This is like the 7th year in a row they've pressed this idea that Giannis needs to get out of town. Giannis needs to get out of town, and Shams himself has been pushing this same report for like 3 years himself.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna give Scams over there any credit. That dude's just a bum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, bring back Woj. So I'm tired of Shams. He's just irritating at this point.
Yeah. But well, the next few days he's going to be all over because trade deadline. I guess if you don't know, tuning in, trade deadline is Thursday, 3 p.m. Not gonna lie, I kind of thought it was later in this. It was later in the month, but it's coming up on Thursday. And every day, whether it's First Take or whoever, or NBA Today, Shams going to be all over those shows going, what's the latest on Giannis? And he'll probably come with the normal, the Bucks are listening to offers. It's like, well, they probably do that every year because every team listens to offers. Doesn't mean they're actually actively
right. Moving. He gives you the most nothing burger of reports. Like, they're listening to offers. Like, I'm sure they are. Like, yeah. Oh, Giannis is thinking about leaving. Like, he's told this like 4 times in year-end press conferences. Like, like I already understand Giannis. If you listen to Giannis press conferences, it's nothing new. He goes, hey, as long as we're, trying to stay competitive and we're winning, like, that's what I care about. I want to try to win another ring, and I don't want the organization to get complacent. And if you get complacent and we stop winning, then, maybe I will leave. Like, he said this. Oh, that's why I'm not giving Shams any credit for this one, because if you literally just listen to Giannis, he'll tell you exactly what's going on half the time. Mm-hmm. Now, you can say that he's been playing coy, this year with some of his interviews, but for the most part, if you just listen to what he's saying, he normally doesn't lie. He'll tell you, like, yeah, hey, I'll leave if we stop competing. Mm-hmm. I do think if we're talking about a Giannis trade, though, if I'm a team, I want to get this thing done by the deadline.
Yeah.
And I think there's 2 reasons for that. One, you have an extra, half a season plus all next season to try to court him into signing that extension, right? Mm-hmm. But I think the other thing that people forget is Giannis is still a Buck. Giannis could very well remain a Buck. He could still retire a Buck. The thing with John Horst, you can argue that he's made the wrong moves, but he's always aggressive and willing to make moves.
Yeah.
And you could very well be running into an offseason where you're going to give Milwaukee a top 10 pick. There's a chance they get a top 5 pick.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to give them access to extra draft picks to trade, which we've already made it clear that the goal is to try to win now with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're looking at a situation where if you let this thing dangle into the offseason, don't put it past Source to make another move to get Giannis to stay. So I wouldn't let this drag on because if there's one thing about Horst, he might make the wrong moves but he's willing to make moves to make Giannis happy.
That's true. He has been pretty active the last few years, but yeah, I guess we'll see Thursday whether or not, because all the conversations are going to be about him. I mean, there's some other names that are out there, like AD or Porter Jr., but Giannis is obviously the name, and everybody's going to be wanting to see. People will probably be checking like Giannis' social media Thursday to see if he drops any hints, because we know, like you said, Giannis has a little troll in him. Like he loves the lead up and leading people on, and yeah, look, I hope he kind of stays, because I'm one of those where if you get great players in necessarily smaller markets, you would like to see them kind of stay and make it happen. Because obviously, if he gets dealt, everybody's gonna want him to be dealt to like Miami or New York or one of these bigger markets, and it's just like, you don't want a league where that's where everybody ends up going. So
Those are the worst trade rumors too, by the way. I'm sorry, but I'd see that too. It's like the Warriors have the best package because they can get. Let's break down the package real quick. They can get Pods. Like, I don't want Pods. He's not that good. They can give Jonathan DMP Kuminga. Like, is that really a prize? Like, you're having trouble trading him to the Sacramento Kings. Why is he all of a sudden a positive asset in the Giannis trades? Like, and we can get Jimmy Butler. Like,
yeah,
Jimmy Butler's ACL just exploded. Like, why? What do you really have in that package that's enticing? I'll give you a hint. It's a whole lot of nothing burgers. Yeah. Like that's literally just, hey, Milwaukee, so do you like our draft picks? Because the actual package itself is just absolutely nothing going on with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because I've seen like, people posting, it's like, Giannis rumors like, hey, you get Giannis, give us all the players that you hate don't play, and we'll take it. Yeah, that's how the Giannis rumors go. The next ones are hilarious too. Because I was watching NBA Today, and like Iman Shumpert's like, I don't want to be, biased or anything, but I hope he ends up in New York. And I'm always, every time the Knicks are brought up, I'm like, what do the Bucks want from the Knicks? All right, you're getting Cat. Great. So you got Cat, Miles Turner. Sure. Hey, you want OG Anunoby? Okay. Like, I feel like Milwaukee could get a lot more than that.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I think a real dark horse in this whole thing is. I think the easy one is the Portland Trailblazers. I think they're a real dark horse to watch. They're right on the East Coast. I don't think it'd be too far of a flight from Portland to Giannis's hometown. We know much family means to Giannis. So, but I think the bigger thing is they have a salary filler they can use in Jeremy Grant. They have young talent, and they have the Milwaukee Bucks picks. So if Giannis shows he's willing to, extended Portland, plus they have some of his favorite players to play with. It's known that he loved playing with Dame. He loved playing with Drew Holiday. Like, there's a lot of factors that I think people are like kind of overlooking Portland. But I do think Portland is a real dark horse in this Giannis race. And if Giannis shows interest in Portland, I really think they probably throw out the best package, and they would be so tough to top.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like Portland's going to get involved somewhere with a deal. I don't know whether it's a Giannis trade, but it seems like Portland is ready to make some type of move, and then we'll see if they can get involved. But look, as the title of the episode, it is Super Bowl week, so we do have a big game to talk about on Sunday. Obviously you got the Seahawks opening as 4.5-point favorites over the New England Patriots. Both teams, the Seahawks path, they were the first round bye, being the number one overall seed in the NFC. They go ahead and beat the Niners, then the Rams. That's their path. New England, 2 seed, beat the Chargers, Texans, and then Broncos on the way to the Super Bowl. I see a lot of people asking this. I don't understand why, but it's like, which path do you feel like you more respect or something like that? Which obviously the Patriots thing is the easy schedule stuff, whatever. But I don't understand why that conversation is coming up. It's like, just talk about the matchups here. So I'm not going to ask you that one. What I will ask you is, go ahead.
I'd say I got the easy answer for that. It's who gives a shit? They're both in the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
Like, what answer are you looking
Gerald
for?
McCoy's stance is they're there. Let's not analyze how they got there and everything. They're there. That's it.
Right. Like everybody's so in love with other teams that have easy paths, right? We've seen teams idolize the greatest show on turf, who, spoiler alert, they had the easiest path to the Super Bowl we've seen outside of, this year's New England team. But you can only beat the teams that are in front of you, right?
Yep.
It's not New England's fault that Buffalo choked and couldn't finish the job. It's not their fault that Patrick Mahomes and company couldn't even make it to the big dance. So I think it's really stupid to sit there and go after New England because easy strength of schedule. Don't blame them for that. Blame your good teams for failing to get that far. It's that simple. Guess what? Denver made it. Houston made it. They just happened to be the Patriots' opponent, and they took care of business. So it's just such a stupid argument. Oh, they had an easy path. Guess what? They're there. They took care of business. Your other teams that would have beat the Patriots, guess what? Put yourself in a position to beat the Patriots, but you didn't. So New England's in the Super Bowl. Your favorite team's not. Cry about it.
Right. Yeah. And looking at the matchup that is on the field, we're looking at two defenses that are playing really well. You have two quarterbacks that, Darnold is a little bit older, obviously, but Darnold has a lot he can prove. Drake May in his second year, a lot that he can prove. Also, both quarterbacks, they're the first from their draft class to make it to the Super Bowl, which that's been made somewhat some news, I guess. More so with Darnold, because Darnold's draft class, you almost forget he was in the Josh Allen Lamar draft, even though Darnold went, number 2 overall? Oh, 3, right. Well, oddly enough, Drake May was number 3 overall as well. Looking at Sam Darnold, which fan base should be, I guess, more upset with Darnold making the Super Bowl? The Vikings, who we heard Justin Jefferson kind of come out and say, yeah, we might be in a better position if we kept Darnold. And then you have the Jets, who are still trying to find a quarterback. Which fan base should be more upset seeing Sam Darnold in the Super Bowl on Sunday?
Easy, the Vikings.
Okay.
The Jets, I think, is irrelevant because you need to put together the system to thrive for a quarterback, and that was never going to happen in New York, right? We can just admit that Sam Darnold was never going to be this in New York.
Yeah.
Sam Darnold was this in Minnesota. He led them to the playoffs, 14-3. People want to hyper index on the last 2 games while ignoring the really big sample size, which is literally over 90% of the year. He was really good. He just happened to have a rough stretch in the last 2 games. there was pretty clear that he was very good last year and he could do exactly what he did for the Seahawks because for literally over 3/4 of the year, he did just that. If
Yep.
I'm a Jets fan, I'm probably just happy for Sam Darnold because you knew he wouldn't be that in New York. If I'm a Carolina Panthers fan, I'm happy for Sam Darnold because he was never going to be that in Carolina. If I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, I'm pissed because you're like, he was literally doing this for us just last year, and we let him walk for 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that, and especially with Jefferson saying that, yeah, you can tell that in that locker room they're probably looking around like, we had that guy. JJ McCarthy is JJ McCarthy. So yeah. On the flip side, Drake May, number 3 pick. Which fan base I guess should be more upset seeing him make it? The Bears who took Williams number 1, or the Commanders who took Jaden Daniels number 2?
Can I take the easy answer and go neither?
Okay,
All
that's
three.
kind of where I'm at too. I think because that draft class was literally just a couple of
I
years ago, you probably
I
shouldn't
get
be upset either way.
I guess you can make the argument that the Commanders for Jaden, but I also just think that all 3 respective picks are working out for each of their respective teams.
Yeah.
Caleb was absolutely terrific for the Bears this year. Jaden, even though he suffered an up and down season and some pretty nasty injuries, he just led the Commanders to the NFC Championship game just last year. So I think the answer is all 3 teams got their franchise quarterbacks, and it works out for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, so once again, on the field, we do have, like I said, 2 really good defenses, 2 quarterbacks looking to prove something. Where do you think maybe the biggest disadvantage or advantage, if you want to look at it that way, for one of these teams might be? Meaning, like, if you think Seattle, when they have the ball against New England's defense, New England, they have the ball against Seattle's defense, you think special teams, like what coaching, whatever, like what aspect do you think would be the biggest, what's framing as biggest X factor in the outcome of this game?
The biggest X factor is going to be the execution of the Patriots offense. If the Patriots offense performs like they have for the first 3 games of this postseason run,
Mm-hmm.
which, by the way, we can acknowledge they're in the Super Bowl while acknowledging their offense has been downright bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. They've played some top 5 defenses. In fact, they played 3 of them. But I still expected a little more than what they have given on the offensive end.
Mm-hmm.
If they come out and they play like they have been, and they're slow, they're just kind of lethargic, and they're just not executing, I don't know if this is a close Super Bowl.
Okay.
With all the weapons that the Seahawks have on offense, I think the X factor is going to be, will the Patriots be able to get off to a quick start? Because if they're not able to, I don't know if I like their chances. I think they got to punch the Seahawks in the mouth, and they got to do it right away in the first quarter and set the tone.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point there. Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, I was probably going to say strictly the O line, even though I feel like Seattle's defense isn't necessarily built off their D line necessarily, but I do think the trenches will play a part in this. Even looking at Seattle's O line, that they've had issues in the past, and I feel like when you look at the way that the O line's broken down, it seems like the weakness in their O line is like interior, which means that plays into New England's hands with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. New England on the other side, there's going to be questions about Will Campbell and Jared Wilson on the left side of the line. How does that play into Dexter Lawrence? So I think that's probably going to be the X factor for me. I'll be watching that very closely. Who can give their quarterback the most time to operate? 'Cause I do think both offenses against these defenses could actually make plays if given time. As good as the defenses have been, I think both teams could make some plays. All right, so uh, I guess we'll just go ahead. We'll get a prediction out there, and then we'll get into some fun prop bets because you have to do this every year with the Super Bowl before we get out of here. Because some of them, we talked about them last year. We'll do it again this year. So I guess I'll ask winner, score, and MVP.
I do think that this will be a defensive game. I do think both teams will struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, we are going to get course correction
Okay.
in this game. We are going to get, and I'm sorry, Kyle, but I'm predicting a 24-21 Seahawks victory. Why is it going to be course correction? They win it on a walk-off Kenneth Walker rushing touchdown, correcting their mistake from a decade ago.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I'm a big Kenneth Walker fan.
I just can't imagine how painful it would be if they try to run the ball on the goal line and Kenneth Walker fumbles it.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be the worst ending for the Seahawks. But I do think that I think it'll be a close game. I think this will be a fun, kind of low scoring defensive game, and it'll be a war of attrition that I think the Seahawks will barely come out on top in.
So, I mean, I guess because of the Super Bowl, most times the MVP goes to the quarterback. Would you, in your scenario, would Darnold just be the MVP?
Ooh, yeah, I would say so. I feel like he's going to make just enough plays in the end, say, to win that MVP award.
I mean, we have obviously have had defensive players or non-quarterbacks win MVP, but it very
Ironic,
pretty often that it does go to the quarterback.
ironically, the last time the Seahawks won the Super Bowl, I believe a defensive player was the MVP. I think the MVP was Bruce Irvin that game.
Why am I thinking it was somebody else? But I do think you're right. I think it was a defensive player. Was it Bruce Irvin? Actually, I want to look that up. Let me double check that. So
Malcolm Smith.
Seahawks won it in 20. There it is. I thought it was Malcolm something. I just can't remember his last name. Yeah, Malcolm Smith. I don't
know why I thought Bruce Irvin.
So I'll say this. We'll say Darnold throw out a kind of off the wall MVP pick. We'll have some fun with it.
I would if it's not Sam Darnold. Oh, you know what? I got a bold prediction if it isn't Sam Darnold. Give me a defensive player in DeMarcus Lawrence. Left the Cowboys to come to the Seahawks because he said, and I quote, we're not going to be competing for championships in Dallas. Could you imagine if DeMarcus Lawrence, who's been an absolute game wrecker for the Seahawks this year, left and in his first year not only won a Super Bowl, but won Super Bowl MVP?
Yeah. So I will say, to those of you who are watching, for whatever reason, the comments were coming in, so I haven't seen any of them. And I see that, so they just popped up randomly. StreamYard being weird. So, what's up? 3&D, got Ricardo, Syjan, Jory, John, Kurum, what's up? Time, what's going on? Yeah, so don't think I've been ignoring your comments. I literally wasn't seeing them. I thought something was up, but I couldn't get them to show up. So if you're still in here, I can see them now. So I will kind of look through them and maybe pull up some ones from the past and pull them up on the screen. So my fault on that one. Well, StreamYard, but yeah, okay, I can see that. That would be great theater if it came down to a similar scenario. Seahawks ball, red zone, what do they do? Will that be in the back of their mind? Will they just purposely try to run it? And will New England be ready for it? So okay, I can see that. I can see that. I will go. I mean, as a Patriots fan, I gotta pick my Patriots. Even though there's a team that they're gonna lose to, the Seahawks don't have a team that I necessarily hate, so I wouldn't be mad. And because of the year that they've had, I would still be, you know, happy with the season if they lost in the Super Bowl to Seattle. As long as it's not like embarrassing where you're just like, God, turn this off. Like if it's competitive, I don't care either way. I can see Marshawn Lynch laughing if they Marshawn, look, if they get in the red zone, Marshawn might run in the locker room, grab a jersey, and run out there himself. I wouldn't put it past him.
Marshawn's immediately calling out like Russ and Pete Carroll if they do run it in for a walk-off touchdown.
Yeah. I say, Super Bowl with Seattle, give Marshawn Lynch a microphone. Let him say whatever. Just give him like the Pat McAfee treatment. Put him on an end zone. Be like, hey, Marshawn, the next few hours, just give us your thoughts. You might get gold.
We'll give him the Booger McFarland crane too.
Oh yeah, that thing used to like zip along. Yeah.
I think when it comes to either of these teams, regardless of what happens, it's just a great season.
Yeah.
Like even if either team gets blown out, like New England, you didn't expect a Super Bowl out of New England. You didn't expect a Super Bowl out of Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at the end of the day, regardless of what happens on Sunday, I know a lot of people are going to be trolling. Like if New England loses, for example, like, oh, LOL, New England, they lost in the Super Bowl, so who cares? But I think regardless of what happens on Sunday, terrific season for both teams.
Yeah. So like I said, everybody, I can see your comments now. Appreciate all of you that were commenting before, and I could not see it. Believe in Seattle when Darnold wins MVP, and to me that means they blew the Patriots out. Okay. Jason, like that prediction. Kerm's got 23-17. Hollins MVP. Hollins is a character. Like I've seen some of his stuff on social media. I love him as a Patriot. 23-19. Okay.
Say we're gonna get like the Keyshawn Booty MVP.
Hey, it could happen. Best defense in the league. All right. Appreciate that time. All right, so here's a question that I did miss. Is this game going to come down to a defensive or a quarterback game?
So I think the answer is somewhere in between. I think it's going to be more of a defensive game, but the game itself is going to come down to which quarterback can make a play against a tough defense. I do think like 99% of it is going to be a defensive game, but I think the ending of it's going to be decided by, is it going to be Darnold or is it going to be May that is going to be able to create against a tough defense?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Like the defense will obviously have a part of this. I just saw this. This was Glenn Crimea Rivers. That's great, Jory. Everyone's quiet on Ja. I think he might go to Miami. I mean I think that would be kind of that'd be kind of boring. Like we've heard Ja to Miami for like a month and a half now.
Let me bring a fresh perspective as to why I don't think that happens.
Okay.
That Miami offense that they run, what team ran that last year? The exact same offense.
Isn't that what Memphis was running?
That's what Memphis Grizzlies ran. Guess who was very unhappy with that offense?
Ja hated
Ja Morant. He hated that offense.
Yeah.
Ja Morant it's more so a guy that's going to thrive on like a spread pick and roll. And I guess you could run pick and rolls with like him and Khalil Ware, but also like Bam Adebayo is not a very good roller. Ja Morant himself has been a terrible shot maker this year for the better part of the year. Like, I don't think Ja and Bam, I think Bam complements him on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
But offensively, I think the fit's kind of weird. But I think the biggest thing is if you get Ja Morant, you're going to have to change the system because that exact system is the one that I didn't like beforehand. So it depends if you're willing to completely overhaul the system you spent the entire year building up.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So Kerm did bring this up once again. Sorry I missed it because it would have been a good conversation there. Look, Vikings are in your division. They fire their GM, and obviously with a lot of the conversations with the coaching cycle, the minorities and all that, the Vikings GM, a minority, was fired, and a lot of people are looking at it as they were 14-3 last year. They had one bad year, and you're firing the GM. Obviously, you as a Packers fan, this kind of affects you because it's a divisional rival that you obviously hate. Like, what were your thoughts when you saw that the Vikings fired their GM?
I was so mad because he was so bad at his job that it kind of annoyed me. Like, he missed on drafts. Like, he had a really
Mhm.
good, 2024 free agent class, if I remember correctly, that kind of saved him. But obviously, I think
Well, I just for that, I think the stat was he drafted was like a Pro Bowler or like none, something like that.
And then, of course, his biggest misstep was at the quarterback position. I don't think that it's as straightforward either as just Darnold went to the Super Bowl. I think when it comes to the mismanagement of the quarterback position of the Vikings, you kind of just look at it from, this the entire scenario, right? It's not just the Sam Darnold thing. It's Daniel Jones. You completely misjudged him. Then he went on to have a great year. You traded Sam Howell, who could have been a quality option. It's a guy that just drafted poorly and then just also mismanaged the most important position. And at that point, you're just kind of cooked. Now, I do think it's weird
Mm-hmm.
when they fired him because they sent him to scout at the Senior Bowl. And after he was done scouting at the Senior Bowl, they're like, hey, thanks for your notes. By the way, pack your bags.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that was weird. And I think the whole piece about him, they came after him because he took time off last year to celebrate, the birth of his kid, and he missed 2 weeks. And there's a lot of there's a report that came out that spun that in a negative light, which I also think was kind of weird because if the Vikings approved it and they
Mm-hmm.
didn't care, I don't think see why we should care. I think the biggest problem at the end of the day with him is just poor drafting. Like you can have a bad class and be fine, but he had 4 bad classes in a row and then only one good free agency class, which you can't really build a competitive team off of one good free agency class.
Yeah. I mean, look, it is a tough life for a GM, but it's also the same offseason where Brandon Beam got promoted, and a lot of people look at his GM record and go, "How did that happen?" So time. I don't believe Joe Mazzulla for the Boston Celtics got the team in second place in the East. And how good is Jaylen Brown? I think what we're realizing is Jaylen Brown. I guess if you didn't think he was this good of a player, he's kind of shown you what he has shown in the past. It was just that kind of overshadowed by Tatum. And I've always said Mazzulla's a good coach. I think early in his tenure, a lot of people weren't giving him credit because they're like, oh, that's just Ime Udoka's team and Joe Mazzulla just whatever. But I think what you're seeing this year is the kind of coach that Mazzulla actually is, where he's taken all these pieces, whether it's young players they drafted, cast-offs from other teams, and has them where they are. Like he has a direct hand in that, as well as Jaylen Brown taking on that number one role and absolutely flourishing in it. When a player's not good, they trade him. Now you have a GM that gave away a quarterback that hadn't Sam Darnold. He went to the playoffs and didn't give him a chance after that. That's fair. Thoughts on the Cardinals' new head coach, which Mike
Mike
LaFleur,
LaFleur,
the Rams OC, is taking that job. Which I guess he took that one because Kubiak's going to get the Raiders job. They were kind of linked. I mean, look, honest thoughts. The Cardinals went and got somebody who knows the division. Fine. I don't know how much of an impact it's going to have because I don't see much slippage from Seattle, LA, or San Francisco next year. Like Arizona might improve and still finish last in that division. It could very well happen. Now, for LaFleur, he's got to figure out that quarterback position. I don't think they can go through another year with Kyler Murray. Jacoby Brissett is not somebody you're going to build around either. Like they have got to do something at quarterback. I don't know what. That's got to be job number one. But I guess what would you think about LaFleur taking the job? You like the hire?
No, I like it. I think you get an offensive mind to try to come in and beef up that offense. I completely agree with they got to figure out the quarterback position first. So it's going to be tough sledding for them for a little bit, I think, because I think even if they do improve, they're still the worst team in that division. But overall, I do like the hire. I think the key with Michael LaFleur is you got to give him time. You got to be patient because when you're in a division where, the Rams, Seahawks, and 49ers exist, you're going to end up JJ. that's setting up poor Mike to fail.
We got Gus Bradley. Oh. Gus Bradley. So what is he going to be doing, Jory?
I unfortunately still have Rich Bisaccia on my coaching staff.
Oh, DC. Okay.
Trust me.
I mean, look, Tennessee's gone from Brian Callahan one offseason. You've got Robert Saleh, Brian Daboll, and Gus Bradley. That's pretty solid. Okay. They might be onto something. Oh, Jory, I do see he's yet another bald coach. You now have 3 bald-headed coaches. Okay.
I'm telling you right now, the whole team should
keep it up with the team.
The whole team should just shave their head bald.
That would be hilarious. DC or Arizona Cardinals have to face the 49ers, the Rams, and Seattle. All I can say is good luck to that coach. Yeah, I mean, look, they like Brett said, if you're a Cardinals fan and you're expecting LaFleur to do the worst to first thing, set yourself up for disappointment now. This has to be probably a 3-year project. At the end of 3 years, they need to be in a better position than they are today. If they aren't, LaFleur, you probably could go. Even if next year it's they're like a winless team and it looks like a complete clown show, whatever. But I'm just gonna be realistic here. 3 years, they need to be probably knocking on the door of a wild card spot at some point for LaFleur to kind of validate the hire. But yeah, first team all bald. Yep. Rich is doing special team coach.
Him and Glenn Rivers need to take the first bus out of town.
Raiders, Cardinals, and Browns need to have patience. Yes. Raiders, absolutely. Cardinals, yeah. Browns, that's going to be an interesting situation to watch.
The Browns having the most expensive quarterback room in the NFL and not one real quarterback is still so funny to me.
Yeah.
Oh boy. You know what? I said that out loud. That's my bad. I'm sure the Sanders are already on their way.
That's Pro Bowler Sanders to you.
Yeah. Look, yeah, right. Kevin Stefanski deserved to lose his job. He had 2 Pro Bowlers on his roster. 2 Pro Bowl quarterbacks, and Joe Flacco and Shedeur Sanders. Yeah, get that bum out
That's
of town.
That's right. Flacco's a Pro Bowler too. Yeah. I need the report of who turned down and pulled out of this. We've gotten down to Flacco and Shedeur Sanders.
So I think everybody at that point, like to get all the way down to Shador, I think like they probably called Malik Willis. Malik Willis was busy. Like, say they pretty much had, I feel like they just had to call like everybody. Like Jacoby
Mhm.
Brissett must be out of town that weekend. Like they really just called everybody and they're like, nah, we good.
Yeah, especially Flacco. Flacco could be taking that time just chilling. He's got to go to this Pro Bowl. I mean, that would have to be it. I feel like if they called Cam, he would absolutely go. I feel like Cam would have a lot of fun in a Pro Bowl setting.
See,
I
I
was
think
kind of surprised that he wasn't. If you got to Shador, I was like surprised he didn't get to Cam Ward before that.
no, in all reality, Shador was probably the next option up for them. If anything, look, what do you want with the Pro Bowl? You want as many eyes as possible. You know what's going to get as many eyes as possible? Shador Sanders, Deion Sanders. Like,
Yeah,
in all
the
reality,
crowd that some NFL fans are just tired of. Yeah, they're going to be all over this now.
absolutely. Like, at the end of the day, we know that they were looking for any excuse to get Shador into this game. Was
Yeah,
it deserving? Not even close. But will it bring eyes to the Pro Bowl? Absolutely. I just don't want to hear it, by the way. I don't
yeah.
care how well Shador Sanders does in flag football or he does in some random throwing accuracy drill. He still needs to win the quarterback spot next year. Nothing that happens at the Pro Bowl is going to move me off that stance.
Yeah. Damien, what's up? I have no hopes in Bo or Shador. It's kind of wild to put those two in the same comment, but
What did Bo do?
yeah,
I I think Bo Nix is inconsistent, but at the end of the day, he's shown that he can step up and make a big play when needed.
yeah.
Sorry. Joe Flacco's going to bring it back. He's going to be the old school coach that's like smoking a cigar on the sideline.
I think the Saints are happy with Kellen Moore, but I see what you're saying, Damien. Uh, also, just really quickly, I forgot I didn't give my prediction. So I have Patriots 26-24. I guess MVP Drake May. My off the wall MVP pick, Ramondre Stevenson. If he can get like a couple of rushing touchdowns and factor in the passing game as well as he has kind of later in the season, I could see him as a kind of dark horse MVP pick. Yeah, I don't think yeah. Especially with the kind of momentum the Saints had with Tyler Shuck, yeah. I feel like you let that ride out. Tyler Shuck's like 45 years old. Milk it for all you can right now. Nothing against Bo. Well, you should have said that. You put Bo and Shador. We're thinking you hate Bo. Okay, you just don't like Sean Payton. Okay, I got you. All right, so had a little fun as we're coming down to the end of the show. Obviously, you all in the chat, you can join in with us with this one. Prop bets. We know everybody loves a good prop bet for the Super Bowl, and the Super Bowl usually gets some of the fun, odd ones that really love talking about most. So let's go through a couple of them just to see how we're feeling. So the first one I feel like is the one you always have to do with heads or tails. They always get even odds. What's it gonna be?
Heads.
Okay. I feel like tails never fails, and then it's like it's never tails, so it probably would be heads. Uh, Length of the national anthem over 125 seconds.
Who's singing it again?
It's Charlie Puth doing the national anthem. Now, I guess if you want a little insider information, apparently on his YouTube page, he sang the national anthem. He did it in 72 seconds.
I was gonna say, I'm trying to like judge it based off like normal pacing of a Charlie Puth song. I think it'll be under.
Okay. I kind of think he'll be under as well. John says over. Jory says too damn long. Okay. The coin gets if that ever happened one year, I would love to see the refs scramble as to what to like how to
No,
convey
like
that to the audience and the crowd.
I feel like the coin one of these years will get stuck standing, and it'll probably end up being if there's ever a Packers versus Bills Super Bowl, because neither of those teams can ever have anything go their way in the playoffs half the time. So I
Mm-hmm.
feel like it would be that specific matchup where the coin toss would get stuck standing up.
So time says I'll pick is Stephon Diggs. If Drake May wins MVP, we already got a whole nation that don't like the Patriots. I can see them. Yeah, Stephon Diggs would be an interesting one. Okay. Okay, here's another one. Will a scoring drive take less time than the anthem?
Well,
Now, if he goes 72 seconds, that's going to be asking a lot, but that is a prop bet you can bet on. Yes is minus 600, no plus 350. So, will a scoring drive take less than the scoring anthem? I mean,
no.
I feel like
I
no,
think
yeah. I
I
feel like
feel
with
like
these
both of these.
defenses, you're going to have to kind of methodically move the ball down the field.
Oh yeah.
That's definitely in the back of my mind as well, Jory. Having Cam have to fumble over his words to describe how, well, they only won it because it's Sam Darnold and, whatever he will
I,
spin it
I'm
as.
I'm shy. Say Cam just sounding like the New England, sound like the NFL version of Perkins. They won it because of my leadership. Meanwhile, his ass is banned from the parade. Like Cam is so annoying. What I
Mm-hmm.
get frustrated about with guys like Cam is for years, like you hear a lot of these athletes going, you know, if you don't play the game, you're just not qualified to talk about sports. And then they get into media and they sound less intelligent than your average Twitter user half the time, which Cam Newton half the time just he has these moments of brilliance where he's like breaking down the quarterback position and it's awesome. But he just when he decides to go for the hot take, he is awful.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh
yeah,
God!
the Fergie one. Oh,
If it was Fergie, I'm taking off my life savings and putting it on the over.
that NBA All Star game where we witnessed the brilliance of Fergie. It was, yeah.
Oh,
Now, this is something to watch. There could be a kick return from Seattle. Rashid Shaheed is dangerous with the ball in his hands. That would be an interesting start to the game. I mean, talk about coming out swinging first kick.
I don't think the Patriots are going to let that happen.
Yeah, I think they're going to tell Borregales just kick it out of the back of the end zone.
Right. I think it's just going to be, hey, so we saw what he did in the last game. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Just send that out of the back of the end zone every time.
Yeah, that was the funniest part. Yeah. Watch, because they knew that the cameraman was in front of them going down the line while she's singing. So they're trying to make sure not to react because the camera's obviously right there. And you can see some of them kind of chuckled a little bit. And I was just like, yeah.
It was those Warrior guys. Like, you have Dre.
Yeah,
Like,
it was Draymond and Steph.
Dre got caught in the awkward, like, he was trying not to laugh, but, like, he was showing his teeth. Like, he was trying so hard not to. Mm-hmm. Steph just straight up starts laughing. Clay like sees those two and he just immediately just like looks away, but he has the biggest smile on his face. Yeah. Like I need Fergie to sing the national anthem again.
I mean, I'm sure there's not a chance she ever does, but give a girl a redemption. Roseanne, on the other hand, she can absolutely stay away because that rendition she had was probably the best you're gonna get from her.
Yeah, it was. Draymond's face was the best part of that.
Yeah. Will Seattle attempt a pass from the 1 yard line? I guess they're playing out the whole scenario again. Will they throw another pass?
Absolutely. Look, in all seriousness, if you get one to the 1 yard line, you still can't be predictable. So I think if they get to the 1, I think there will be I think they'll try to run, and if they get stuffed, I think then you go to a play action like rollout. But yeah, I do think that there will be more passes from the 1 yard line from Seattle.
I could think no, in that they don't actually get to the 1 yard line.
Well, yeah, I guess if they don't get there,
Yeah.
but also like you just have guys like JSN and even can get Cooper Cup that can get shifty in the slot. Like you have wideouts that are so good at creating separation that I don't see why you wouldn't attempt to pass even from the one. Like you can't let what happened 10 years ago get in your head at this point.
Mm-hmm. All right, this is an interesting one. Will a Patriots linebacker or offensive lineman catch a pass? They're obviously coached by Mike Vrabel, who anytime the Patriots made the Super Bowl, you can almost automatically assume they're going to call a play for Vrabel at some point. Do the Patriots now do it again with him as coach?
Does the lineman catch a pass?
Or a linebacker, because obviously the Vrabel part of it.
Yeah. I think that happens.
I mean, they use Tonga a lot. It would be kind of interesting to see them throw it to Tonga and have him kind of get in.
Because I think this will be one of those games where you have to. Like, I think you're going to get basic passes and runs just aren't going to work. These are two stout defenses. So I think what the next step is going to be, okay, let's start dialing up some trick plays, which a pass to the lineman would fit.
Let's see. All right, so over 1.5 or under 1.5. How many times will highlights from Super Bowl 49 be shown? Which is obviously the last time these two teams met.
The line's at 1.5.
Yeah,
I'll beat that in the first 2 minutes. What?
Yeah.
I'll put my life savings on the over.
Yeah, because they're probably going to show them before the game. And if it's close in the fourth, they'll probably show, the Malcolm Butler pick in the fourth quarter, probably. So, yeah, I'm going over on that one.
Like, to me, that's like the biggest lock of the Super Bowl weekend.
Mm-hmm. Which will be mentioned first? Drake May attending the Super Bowl 50, because remember, he was a kid and was at that Super Bowl. Or Darnold being the first quarterback from the 2018 class to reach the Super Bowl. Which gets mentioned first?
I have a cop-out answer. Whoever wins the coin toss. Whatever team's on offense first. I'm gonna predict that it's gonna be Sam Darnold. They'll mention first. I feel like the Seahawks start out with the ball, and which will put Sam Darnold in the spotlight first.
It might be May. Like if they start with the ball, I can see them going, "Hey, throw up the picture of Drake May."
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll be like in The Blind Side. Come on, Bert, run the dang ball.
He'll just be in the coach's ear. They'll be like, "Who is that?" They'll be like, "Well, no." Marshall might be like, "Give it to Ginger, cuz." Since he loves Cooper Kupp. Let's see. What's another good one here?
Say.
So there is a prop bet. Will Chris Collinsworth mention Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
Yes or no?
Oh my God. I'm convinced that there's just not a scenario where he doesn't mention Patrick Mahomes. He's going to find a way. Like the first play that, Sam Darnold throws off balance, he'll be like, it's a very Mahomey.
Yeah. Will Sam Darnold seeing ghosts be mentioned? Yes or no?
Oh my! Against the Patriots, absolutely.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I'm down.
Okay. Let's see. All right, this is one always a prop bet. Total songs sung at the halftime show. The over/under is 8.
I want to go over.
Yeah, I mean, for a lot of people, this will be their first opportunity to be introduced to Bad Bunny. I feel like Yeah, I feel like you kind of just breeze through them. I feel like 8 is a safe number to go over.
Or you could tune into the All American halftime
Oh
show.
God.
Hey, who wants to listen to Kid Rock in the big 2026?
That's the thing that kills me. It's like your best alternative is Kid Rock.
Oh, I saw that. My first response was they couldn't find at least any like C-list celebrities to pull this one off. Like we're going straight back to the 90s and 80s. We're busting out Kid Rock out of retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just
When 8 to 12
absurd.
songs, okay.
No, I'm excited. I think Bad Bunny's going to knock it out of the park.
My first experience was he did like a WWE thing and he did like his own song and just seeing how people reacted to that, it's like, yeah. Okay, David. Bet the Mountain Dew commercial will be the best commercial. That's why they had teased a few commercials that we will see. Let's see. What else we got here? Oh, Jory did mention she thought the Gatorade color was going to be blue. So, color of the Gatorade, the favorite right now is orange, then blue, yellow, green, lime are third, purple, then clear/water, with red/pink as the highest odds, or longest odds, I should say. What color will the Gatorade be?
You know what? I think Jory's onto something. I'm gonna go with blue. Patriots colors are blue. Seahawks have a blue tinge to a lot of their jerseys. Like I'm gonna go blue.
Okay. Yeah. Hmm. What if they? I mean, if they did water, that'd be kind of boring. I'll go purple. Why not? Let's be a little different. I'll go purple. Chance we see Pete, Carroll, and Russ at the game together. I'd find that very slim.
Say together? Nah.
And the last one, which we kind of talked about, because I will give you these are the odds right now for Super Bowl MVP, because we both mentioned Darnold and May. Your off the wall one was Demarcus Lawrence. I have Ramondre Stevenson. Right now, the best odds are Sam Darnold, then Drake May, then JSN, then Kenneth Walker. I think that would be a strong one as well. Then Ramondre Stevenson, Rashid Shaheed. If he's an MVP, he probably had like a Desmond Howard type moment, which I think Time mentioned before. And then Stephon Diggs is plus 4,500. And Time mentioned Stephon Diggs as well. You could make a good, kind of good bit of money there. I'd rather hear the Beastie Boys. Oh, over Kid Rock. Yeah, they could have thrown a dart at a dartboard and came with something more relevant than Kid Rock, but he represents the alternative to Bad Bunny. So good luck with that if that's what you're going to tune in for.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think the whole discourse around Bad Bunny is just absurd.
It is.
Like, all right, like, oh, he's not American. Like, have you ever looked into what Puerto Rico is? Like, it's like it's a territory for the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So overall, at the end of the day, yeah, no, I think that Bad Bunny's gonna knock it out of the park.
Yeah, like I said, if it's anything like his WWE stuff, yeah, it is going to be wildly entertaining. Even if I guess gotta throw it out there, you may not understand Spanish all the time, even though he can speak English. He was literally at the Grammys and he spoke in perfectly good English. So I'm sure there'll be some English worked into it. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a great party. And I know that this is also like Jelly Roll has come out and said he would like the Super Bowl to be in Nashville one year, or for them to go kind of a country themed one. Sure, I'm sure we're heading towards that at some point, but I don't know. I feel like every year the discourse, like you said, around Super Bowl halftime is just like, why are we wasting energy with this? Like, if you don't like the act, do what most people do. It's halftime. You go get some snacks and stuff. You come back when the game comes back on. It's no
Right,
big.
like right. Normally the halftime show is fine. Like I thought
Yeah.
they knocked out of the park the last couple of times. I thought Kendrick was good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whole thing they did with Eminem 50 and Company was good. Like I think Bad Bunny's gonna be good.
Cardi will be in the area. Like, why not? And that's always the thing now. Is like, who will be the special guest for the artist? That's always fun as well. So, yeah, that was the last prop bit that I wanted to go through, and yeah, that's kind of all I had for you. So once again, like I said, apologize for not kind of putting comments up there earlier. I wasn't seeing them, but I do see that a lot of people were in here, and you guys are very active in the comments. So I definitely appreciate that. So once again, Ian should be back next week. We'll have the full show. We'll be back to obviously break down the very day after the Super Bowl what happened, MVP, and maybe a quick look at the offseason. I don't know. We'll see. What if there's some NBA thing? Well, obviously there's trade deadline, so we'll talk about that next week as well. Hopefully it's kind of active. Like I don't want this, these rumors about Giannis and all this stuff, and we get like nothing on Thursday. Because then we might really have to have a conversation about shams. Because if you're going to be on my TV all week, something better go down.
It's going to be like Alex Antetokounmpo gets traded. Like, I told you when Antetokounmpo was going to get traded.
Right, and then Shams will do his thing like, well, they were very close on a deal, but ultimately they decided not to. It's like, okay, Shams, I could have said that.
He'll pull out the most ridiculous name, too. Like, yeah, he almost got traded to Miami, but, they weren't really willing to part with Nikola Jovic. I'm like, shut up, Shams. Like, oh, the Warriors weren't ready to part with Pods. Like, they absolutely were. Pipe down.
Yeah. So, I do think some things will happen. I don't know if Giannis does, but yeah. Schroeder's on team number 11 now.
Yeah. That whole I don't understand the Kings ever.
Yeah, like, I didn't get that trade either when they announced it.
I didn't get the signing when they announced it. Like, they got rid of Valanciunas to get Saric, and then they gave Schroeder a big contract, but then they immediately signed Russ, which kind of undermines the Schroeder signing.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have to part with assets to get rid of, Schroeder. Like, it doesn't make sense. And by the way, I need, before we go off the air, I need to clear the air because this is annoying. DeAndre Hunter is not a 3-and-D wing.
Yes. Yeah.
First off, you need defense to be 3-and-D. He doesn't really do that. He's not even that good in a team defensive setting. There's a reason why the Cavs got rid of him. If he was any good, even as a team defender, yeah, he's still in Cleveland. And he's shooting 30% from 3. He's not 3 or D. Dude's a volume scorer. That's so annoying. I keep seeing that report like, oh, he's 3-and-D, and the Kings are infatuated with his two-way ability. Like, what two-way ability? Like, if he was this two-way 3-and-D demon, why in the world would the Cavs get rid of him?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. 3-and-D has been thrown around. Like, they used to call PJ Tucker a 3-and-D guy. Like, PJ Tucker would take like 1-3 every 3 weeks. Like, how's he a 3-and-D guy? Like, I completely agree with that. I think DeAndre Hunter is supposed to be a 3-and-D guy. If you want to say that, yeah, but he hasn't really put either one together. At least not this year.
Yeah, I mean, sure, and Cam Reddish was supposed to be a number 1 scoring option, but that never materialized either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the problem is, once somebody gets labeled like a 3-and-D wing, that just sticks. Like, even long after they're done being a 3-and-D wing.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, at some point, DeAndre Hunter got labeled a 3-and-D wing, and now everyone's like, his ability on both sides of the ball, like, if he had this ability on both sides of the ball, he's a Cleveland Cavalier still, like point blank period.
Yeah,
A team that has a hole at small forward is not going to trade a small forward if he's this 3-and-D demon.
I agree. All right, there are two questions that we will answer before we get out of here. How do we like the top two rookies playing the other night? Duke players, Cooper Flag, Con Knuppel.
I love it. I love watching those two go back and forth. Con Knuppel, man. I know there was people that were skeptical about the Hornets picking him up. I was personally loving that pick, and he's just continuously improved. But not only is he continuously improving, he's starting to show some juice off the dribble. He's not just a 3-point threat. He can get going downhill. And I think, he's going to continue to improve in that facet. I love Con Knuppel. I think he's going to be I'm going to say he's going to be a very good player for a very long time. Kind of in the same, archetype of, your Klay Thompson being very good for very long with their ability to space the floor. I'm not saying that Khan's going to be in a Klay Thompson tier player, but I think that he's going to be in the league for a long time. And if he's able to continue to advance his game off the dribble, he's going to be dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I think looking at those two, my mind automatically goes to what are Dallas and Charlotte going to do now that they have these two pieces in place? Charlotte, there's going to be rumors about LaMelo Ball being traded and all that. I do think Charlotte has to kind of do something with all this young talent that isn't necessarily winning together, but they kind of have to advance the progression at some point. They can't consistently be a team filled with young players that aren't competing. You got to do something. And then for Dallas, nice. You got Cooper Flag. What about the rest of the team? AD might get moved. You don't know when Kyrie's coming back, what he's going to look like. You got Klay Thompson. You got all this. Just somewhat rip the Band-Aid off. Start with the young players like a Cooper and Knuppel and just do what's best for them. That's what I was thinking about when I saw the two of them playing. And then, do we think the PG suspension was justified? 25 games. PG has taken full responsibility. He's not blaming anybody else. He's talking about how mental health. He went on his own, get some medication, blah blah blah. He popped up on failed test. So, Jamie wants to know: do we think it's justified?
Yes. At the end of the day, it's in the CBA what you can and cannot do. Did he know off the top of his head that it was banned? No. But at the end of the day, that's why you got to make sure to have advisors and people around you to know what is and isn't banned. I'm sure he has a team of a medical staff or a private doctor that does know these things, what's banned and not banned. So is it unfortunate? Yes, because PG was just rounding into form. Is it justified? Also, yeah, it's exact. They punished him to the letter of the law in the CBA. Nothing more, nothing less. He accepted responsibility, and that's that. So it's unfortunate, but it's justified.
Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate, and it's something that if he went on his own to whatever, then whoever he was going to could have easily have probably contacted somebody within the team and gone with, hey, got PG, giving him this. Will he be fine if he takes it? If they say no, then they could have gone that way. So yeah, it's something that have to understand. It for whatever the reason needed the medication. That's obviously one thing, but have to be absolutely careful what you're putting into your body because, like you said, he was playing well and now he's out for 25 games, and we'll see if he can kind of regain his form when he comes back. And obviously, he's talking about mental health and all that. That's obviously very important. You just have to cover all your bases when you're doing stuff like that. So justified, yes, because he did break the CBA and all that, but it is unfortunate, like you said. With that, they will miss the playoffs. Well, I mean, they're sitting sixth now.
I think
so. You're looking at I guess you're hoping what Atlanta or Miami move ahead of them. I don't know. I think they'll be fine. Like if Embiid is healthy, they should be fine. Like Maxi, you know what you're getting out of him. Edge, Coben, those pieces. Like as long as Embiid doesn't take a step back, I think they could still be a top 6 team because I'm not putting a lot of faith in Atlanta or Miami, minus a move on Thursday to do something. I think if you're looking from Milwaukee's perspective, you would love for San Antonio or one of these teams that have young assets, draft picks. That would be your better fit if you're Milwaukee. I don't know, from a stance of maybe like NBA and attention and all that.
I guess the question is, out of all the teams selected to go to, like, what teams are we referencing here? I think the Warriors would be a terrible idea. They're just too old. You add Giannis. Now you don't have any room because everybody's making a max, and there's no room to improve the depth. Miami, I just think that would be hilarious. I'm not even sure how that works. You can anchor an elite defense with Giannis and Bam, but also that offense would be kind of atrocious with Bam number 2 option hoops. So I don't think it'd be worth it. Plus, they would have to plunge a lot of their depth to do it. You want a young, up-and-coming team that can kind of build around them. I think when we're looking at that, I think you're the best fit that could realistically make a move for Giannis. I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets. I think they have enough young talent that they can spare. They can trade some, but still keep some quality pieces. You can dangle a guy, and this might be a tough pill to swallow, but you can dangle a guy like Sengun into trade talks. So I do think that there is young talent in Houston and now a sense of urgency. You added Kevin Durant. You didn't add Kevin Durant so you can get knocked out in the first round. You want to win a title. So if you can flip couple of these young talents for Giannis, plus you have that Fred VanVleet contract, you can use to match salaries. I do think that if I had to pick a contending team that would make sense, that has the assets and the contracts to flip, I'm going to go with the Houston Rockets.
Okay. And I'm with them. The Magic wouldn't be a bad spot. I mean, they are getting younger.
But who are they? Who are they trading? Jalen Suggs?
Yeah.
Like, it's just kind of. I don't think Giannis is going anywhere, but like I said, if he does at this point, like, it happens. No, it just. The Magic are awkward because.
Yeah.
Then you're just kind of. You'd have to trade out either Jalen Suggs or Desmond Bane, and now. You're getting Giannis, but now you're just adding another hole onto the roster.
Yeah.
Like to me, if we're talking about contenders, I think the team that has the motive and the assets to pull it off, especially with VanVleet on the books, it's Houston. If you're looking for the team that has the easiest path to pull it off, Portland Trailblazers. If Giannis would be so interested in potentially going to Portland. I don't think he would be, but I do think that Portland does have the easiest path to a Giannis trade.
Look, Portland would be a fun trade. Like you're going Milwaukee to Portland. Portland's not a necessarily big market. I think that would be fun to see, and I think Portland. I feel like Blazers fans they're a good group. I think Giannis would fall in love with them, but yeah, it's gonna be where Giannis actually wants to go. And like you said about the Magic, it's like every time I watch the Magic play, it's just like there's so much potential there, and it's just like you watch them and you go, there's always something missing every time you watch Orlando play.
Right, like you trade Jalen Suggs, and now you don't have a point of attack defender. You trade Desmond Bane, and now you're missing shooting on the outside. Like,
yeah,
be honest with the ball. I just don't see where that would go. Like, hey,
get that Patrick Williams Bucks jersey ready.
I swear to God. Like, for being real, like, what does that do for Chicago? Like, does Josh Giddey, Giannis, and Nikola Vucevic trio really make that much noise? I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But no, and you mentioned the biggest reason why I don't want this to happen, because Patrick Williams would be coming back as a salary filler, and the first time I have to watch like Kyle Kuzma, Patrick Williams front court,
Yep.
I'm probably just no, I'm not even going to finish that sentence. I can't do it.
Those would be some rough minutes on the floor. Oh man, imagine Doc having to coach those two. Yeah.
I imagine Doc having to coach. He hasn't really done that at all this year.
Oh, I forgot another player from his excuses. He doesn't have Taurean Prince either.
I'll take Giannis over P. Will and Vooch any day. I mean,
yeah, David. Of course.
I will take a Lamborghini over a 2001 Toyota Corolla any day too.
Mm-hmm. Reed says Kings Media keeps saying that Sabonis for RJ Barrett is close. Any thoughts? Yeah, RJ Barrett's another name where it seems like Toronto's going to do something, which if they do, RJ Barrett's going to be the guy that leaves. For Sabonis, it's like, hey, you were stuck with the Kings all these years. Welcome to Toronto. I mean, Toronto's obviously a better team, but
what's the end game in this one though? Like, this only makes sense if Jakob Poeltl is going out too. Which, by the way, if you can get off that Jakob Poeltl contract, do it as quickly as possible. I said in the offseason, as soon as he signed that, it wasn't a good contract.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with him having back issues last year, which they've only gotten worse this year.
Yep.
Like, and that's the second part. RJ Levine, DeRozan, like at that point, like what are you trying to build? Like, what's the end game?
Yeah. I mean, Sabonis is a name that seems like the past couple of years he's kind of been thought of as possibly being moved out. So yeah.
Okay, Poeltl's in the deal. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Well, can't do that because Ballmer likes Harden, Kawhi, and Zubac as their core three. I mean, if it is for Giannis, I'm sure he might make some exceptions. Sabonis and McDermott for RJ and Poeltl. Sure. That's one of those that'll come across the bottom. You'll go like, oh, okay. So we're just making deals to make deals.
That's like me just seeing a trade on the 2K trade finder going, yeah, you know what? Sure, why not?
Oh, like, so maybe Grady Dick too. Okay.
Okay.
Once again, yeah, it's just one of those be like, okay, we're just making deals.
Have elevated the Kings from mid to mid, like, and I don't know what this does for. It's funny because I don't know what that really does for the Raptors either. It gives you a playmaking hub in Sabonis, but also one of the Raptors' issues is you don't really have a ton of high volume, high quality 3-point shooters.
Yeah.
And now you're adding Sabonis, who also can't really shoot, but it's just awkward in the sense of I just not sure. Like when I'm watching both defenders sag off every single dribble handoff action, which is a bonus staple at that point. What are you doing?
Raptors are in fourth. I believe it's Pistons, Knicks, Celtics, Raptors right now.
Yeah, Raptors are having a great year, and it's on the back of their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Say, shout out to Scotty Barnes and Colin Murray Boyles.
Yes. Yeah. Look, the Raptors have they have a nice little group that they have going, but yeah, it's definitely off their defense because offensively, they also go through stretches of kind of bad basketball on that end of the floor too.
Get them in the half court, and they're still a hard team to watch.
Yeah. But you get them out running in transition. Yeah, they are fun.
They look like Showtime running in transition, but as soon as you get that team in the half court, they go through stretches where they look like the 2013 Bobcats.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we'll end it there. Once again, look, appreciate all of you that were in the chat. Really do. Make sure you come back next week. Frank the Tank. Make sure you come back next week where we will talk trade deadline. We'll talk Super Bowl. We'll talk all that. Maybe an early look at the offseason in the NFL as well. Plus, I guess we'll have to look at maybe second half of the NBA season, stuff like that. But we'll be here to talk about it. And like I said earlier, we should have Ian back next week. So I guess, Brett, anything you want to add before we get out of here?
Yeah, I will be going live. Both y'all join the 9 p.m. show. It is fun joining that show. Yeah, I will be going live for Beanie Boys. I might be doing it solo, so I definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. I'll just be talking about, the Royal Rumble. If you sat through my entire watch along, that was a lot of fun. But I think at the end of the day, I'm still going to go live, have a little fun, talk Royal Rumble, maybe talk some AEW, and like I said, hope to see you there.
Now, Reed, you do bring up a point. I don't think I've ever actually done Sports Report. I will have to do it one week. One, because I have to go at Ando. I do it in the comments all the time, but I kind of have to do it on camera just for the better effect. But if I ever decide to go on there, or if I can, I will definitely let you guys know before I do. Because Brett was on there and it was fun. But yeah, so make sure you come back, tune into Meaty Boys, where Brett, like he said, will get you caught up on everything Royal Rumble. I am usually in the chat. Yes, you can usually find me in there. Yeah. So thanks again. Make sure you check out all the other shows here on the network. We will have Sideline to Sideline on Thursday, which will obviously be our Super Bowl edition for that show. And then Friday night, Passion and Precision, myself, Jory, and Key. We'll also discuss Super Bowl and other stuff as well. So make sure you check out those shows, and Coffee and Sports getting you going in the morning every day. With that, for myself, Brett, and Ian, who couldn't be here, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy the rest of your week. And we'll see you next week. Same time. Well, probably a little earlier. But all right. We're out of here. Bye.